The sixth bell of Saint-Lazare. Paris, like a practiced liar, never told the whole truth at once. On the night the sixth bell rang from Saint-Lazare, an hour it had no business ringing at, the fog crept low along the cobblestones, swallowing ankles and secrets with equal devotion. Lucien Moreau stood beneath a flickering gas lamp on Rue d'Amsterdam, collar turned up, notebook heavy in his coat pocket. He had learned long ago that when Paris broke its own rules, someone always paid for it. The bell rang again, not loud, not urgent, just deliberate. Lucien checked his watch. Midnight had already passed. Saint-Lazare rang 5 bells only, always 5. Conductors, station guards, even the night priests agreed on that. A 6th meant either madness or murder. He followed the sound. The station loomed ahead, its iron ribs breathing steam like a dying animal. Most of Paris slept, but Saint-Lazare never truly rested. Porters lingered in shadows, and the echo of distant trains throbbed like a pulse. The bell rope hung inside the eastern vestibule, swaying gently, though no hand touched it. Lucien frowned. "Who rang it?" he asked the night guard, a thin man with nervous eyes and a cap too big for his head. "No one," the guard whispered. "That's the trouble." Lucien stepped inside. The air smelled of coal, oil, and something colder. Fear, perhaps. He had been a police clerk once, back when faith in systems still fit inside him. Now he worked alone, following loose ends for people who didn't want their names spoken aloud. He noticed it immediately. A woman's glove on the marble floor, black leather, immaculate, placed too carefully to be dropped. Lucien crouched and lifted it. Inside the glove, stitched near the wrist, were 2 initials, E.R. He straightened slowly. Élise Renault, Paris's most reclusive railway heiress, a woman who funded stations she never visited and charities she never spoke of. Officially alive, publicly unseen for 3 years. Lucien turned toward the platform. Fog rolled in through the open archways, curling around iron columns like searching fingers. At the far end of track 7, a train sat dark and silent. No scheduled arrival, no departure board listing it. And yet, one door stood open. Lucien approached, footsteps swallowed by mist. The carriage interior was lit by a single lantern swinging gently, as if rocked by breath. Inside, the seats were empty except for one. Élise Renault sat upright, perfectly still. Her eyes were open. She had not been stabbed, not shot. No blood stained her coat or the polished floor. Her hands rested folded in her lap, gloved, except for the missing one Lucien held. She looked peaceful. Too peaceful. Lucien reached for her wrist. Cold, very cold. But death had not taken her here. It had arrived earlier. He noticed the faint bruising around her neck, finger-shaped, careful, practiced. Someone who knew how to leave no obvious marks. Someone patient. A bell rang again. Lucien turned sharply. The lantern swung harder now. "Who's there?" he demanded. No answer. Only the sound of footsteps retreating, slow, unhurried, toward the rear of the carriage. Lucien followed. The last compartment was empty except for a folded paper placed neatly on the seat. No handwriting, just a printed timetable, decades out of date. One station circled in red ink, Montmartre. At the bottom, a phrase written in pencil. Some trains do not arrive. They return. Lucien spent the next day chasing ghosts. Records showed Élise Renault officially died of illness 3 years ago. Buried, mourned quietly, her estate distributed, case closed. And yet, someone had moved her body. Someone had staged her. Someone had rung the 6th bell. At Montmartre, Lucien found an abandoned signal office overlooking disused tracks. Inside, dust lay thick, except for one cleared desk. fresh candle burned low, wax still warm. On the wall hung photographs. Elise, younger, smiling beside a man Lucien recognized instantly. Henri Moreau, Lucien's father. His pulse thudded. Henri had vanished when Lucien was 17, left home one morning, never returned. Officially presumed dead, unofficially forgotten. Lucien stared at the final photograph. His father stood beside Elise Renault, both holding a bell between them. The back of the photo bore a single sentence: "For those who keep the trains on time." Memory struck like a train through fog. The nights Henri came home late, smelling of oil and iron. The bells he'd polished obsessively, the rules he'd muttered about. 5 bells only, never 6. Lucien understood then. The 6th bell wasn't a signal, it was a confession. Someone had broken the covenant, a private system of control buried beneath Paris's railways. Men who decided who vanished quietly, whose deaths were recorded as accidents, whose lives were erased for the sake of schedules. Silence, order. Elise Renault had funded it. Henri Moreau had enforced it. And now, someone was ringing the bell to expose it. Footsteps echoed behind him. "You shouldn't have followed," said a voice, calm and old. Lucien turned. The night guard from Saint-Lazare stood in the doorway, cap removed. His hair was white now, his posture straight. "You rang it," Lucien said. The man nodded. 6 times, once for each of us still alive. "You killed her." "No," the guard replied softly. "I moved her. She was already dead. Died trying to stop us." Lucien's hands clenched. "And my father?" The guard lowered his eyes. "Henri rang the 6th bell first. We silenced him." Silence stretched between them, heavy as fog. "Why now?" Lucien asked. The guard gestured to the photographs. "Because the trains are late, because secrets rot, because someone had to listen." Sirens wailed faintly in the distance. The guard stepped aside. "Go, Lucien. Tell them, or don't. Paris will decide what it remembers." Lucien hesitated only a moment before leaving. That night, the 6th bell rang across Paris, heard by few, believed by fewer. By morning, the signal office burned, records vanished, men resigned quietly, and Lucien Moreau wrote everything down, knowing full well that Paris would deny it ever happened. But sometimes, just before dawn, when the fog is thick and the trains are silent, station guards swear they hear a 6th bell, and they listen very carefully.